Your rising sign is the most personal placement in your birth chart. So when I'm talking about the rising sign, I'm talking about you and how you see things, your perspective on the world and the attitude and energy that you give off when you step out into life. It's also how people look at you, people's first impressions of you when they first see you. It's one of the big three things to know about yourself, whatever your sun, moon and rising sign is. The reason why I say that the rising sign is the most important and personal placement in your birth chart, because it sets out and lays the order and the foundations for the rest of your chart. It's going to dictate what signs fall in what houses for you and how it's aspected. The ascendant point, guys, marks the moment that your spirit, came into the body and came into the world. Like, that's a significant point in our life when we came to this earth. So it's a very, very interesting way to look at yourself and to learn about yourself on a much deeper scale through the rising signs. So not all Libra risings, of course, are going to have the same experience. Let's just put this out there now. It's, of course, going to depend on your own personal planets, where they are, how they're aspected. So this is just going to be a general look at the Libra risings. Now, this is the cardinal male air sign that's ruled by Venus. So your chart ruler, guys, is Venus. So it's very important. Have a look. Where is Venus in your chart? What house? What sign? How is it aspected? Because Venusian type themes are going to be very important and prominent for a Libra rising. And the fact that you have a cardinal rising means that the rest of your angular houses are also cardinal. And I think a cardinal is very much the go-getter, get up and go type energy, the project starter. You know, it's quite a fast energy, really, the cardinal, and that's what you're leading with. And that is going to be more a prominent theme for you in your life, being cardinal, because it falls into your angular houses. And of course, being ruled by Venus, let's have a quick look at Venus. This is the planet of love, beauty, peace, harmony, lust, overindulging. It's what we enjoy. It's very charming. It's very magnetic. Has a very magnetic pull, Venus. And of course, guys, as you probably already know by now, your Venus sign is going to give you a really good indication to what energy you can relate to and get on well with on a long-term basis. So for you Libra risings, because your chart ruler is Venus, it's very important to know where Venus is in your chart. So introduction's over. We have to get all that good stuff out the way. Let's have a look at what it's like to be a Libra rising. First house is the house of self. It's the house of I am. It's your ego and your identity. And for you guys, you have Libra here, which is very interesting because Libra is literally the sign of other people. So in your first house, you have the sign of others in the house of self. So it's also very interesting because Libra risings, the order that your birth chart falls in is the opposite to the natural order of a birth chart. So everything is kind of in reverse for you guys. So it's an interesting rising to look at. But the fact that you have the sign of others in your first house means that a big, huge, fat part of your life, guys, is to do with other people and being parts of groups with other people. This is very, very important. There's a lot of your own self-identity that you gain through your experiences with other people. Of course, as I just said, you're ruled by Venus, so you're giving out this magnetic, charming vibe. You don't have to do that much. You will attract people. People just like you. It's super charming. The Venus influence here can definitely make Libra risings be people-pleasing type energy. You know, you like to be liked, let's be honest. You like people to like you. You want to get on with people. You don't necessarily like to ruffle feathers. Someone who has Venus as their chart ruler prefers peace and harmony and balance and bringing together of other people. With Venus here in the first house of self and appearance and identity, you also, of course, care very much of how you look. You like to look good. You like to be well received. I mean, Libra is the only symbol, is the only zodiac sign, that has a symbol that represents that's an inanimate object. It's the scales. It's about balance, literally balance. And this is why it's always said about Libra risings, how you kind of have symmetrical features. And it's just very attractive. You're walking out with Venus energy. Like I said, you don't have to do that much. And people just gravitate towards you. So it's pretty special. Now, I could just go on and on and on about other different Libra qualities. However, if you've watched some of my other rising signs by now, you'll know I like to jump around the houses and take a little deep dive, look into each one, because I really feel this gives you a much bigger perspective and broader view of yourself. I'm a Sagittarius, so I like to think bigger picture always and be mutable. I can jump around a little bit. So let's get into it, guys. Let's have a look at the other houses in your chart. Let's look at Libra Risings, thinking and communicating styles. So in all of your thinking and communicating houses, you have got the mutable signs. Now that is interesting because as a Libra Rising, you do already carry those indecisive, flip-floppy traits, always going back and forth and balancing things up. Having the mutable signs in your thinking and communicating houses means you can change your mind like the wind. You guys can jump in and out of things very quickly. You're highly adaptable minds. So let's have a look at your third house. Let's start off with your third house. So the third house, of course, is the thinking and communicating. It also deals with local travel and siblings and kind of like the younger years in your life. And you guys have got Sagittarius here. So this is the male fire mutable sign that's ruled by Jupiter. So you can kind of think about it as if you've got Jupiter in your third house. This is a very big energy to have in the thinking house. First of all, because Jupiter is a planet of expansion, more deep, philosophical topics, things not necessarily of this earth, not all tangible stuff. This is a very chatty and sociable energy. Libra Risings is a sociable sign anyway because it's an air sign. Air deals with the thinking and communicating. So Libra Risings like to be social, like to be here, there and everywhere and involved in group situations. So with Sag in the third, Sagittarius is quite a charming energy actually. Saggies are, I think you probably guys have the mindset of think lucky, be lucky, having this placement here. But Libra Risings are charming anyway, just because they're leading with Venus. But adding Sag in here, gift of the gab energy here. So once a Libra Rising actually starts talking, you guys capture people's interests. Because it's going to mean that your mind is a deep mind. You have deep thoughts. You care about things that are a little bit more out there. You might be into topics of religion, philosophy, astrology, spirituality. It's just deeper thought. Having Sagittarius in the third house, I think you guys have big visions. You can see things of how to be. Like when you come up with an idea, you guys are probably the idea people, and being so mutable means you can change and jump in and out with it. We also have, let's face the fact that this is fire. This is the mutable fire sign. So actually, you do come across very super charming and really, really nice and all of that. But I wonder, deep down a little bit, you could be a little bit more blunt as a Libra Rising than your Libra Sun or Libra Moon archetype, because Sagittarius are truth seekers, truth speakers. So you guys deal with the truth, and it's also a sign that wants to learn very much. So Sagittarius are just always learning. So you always learning from your experiences. You're always learning from your environment. You're always learning from your conversations. You're the type of the people that will ask a few questions that are off the cuff, not the average question that someone would ask. Deep chats. You guys appreciate someone who can go deep and have a nice deep chat. This is not small talk vibes here. This is someone who likes to go deep with things. You might have been that person growing up when you was always out and about in your local neighbourhood, knocking around with your siblings, your cousins, things like that. You might be kind of known in your neighbourhood for your general vibe, actually, maybe your mouth to a degree, but just your general charm and your general aura. People might just know who you are from where you live. So let's have a look now at your ninth house. The ninth house, this is the house of higher knowledge, higher learning, spirituality, philosophy, other cultures, just higher topics basically in life. And for you guys, you've got Gemini here. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. Gemini is also an air sign. It is the mutable male air sign that's ruled by Mercury. So having Mercury in a thinking and communicating house, I think you've got a busy and active mind. You're kind of like a sponge. You're always absorbing. You're always learning. You're always listening. You love to learn. And you like to know a little bit about a lot. So you can hold conversations with many different people so that whatever group setting that you're in, you feel comfortable there to be able to hold your own and have those discussions. You might have interest in travelling here, there and everywhere. You might just want to visit like as many places as you can. But I don't see this as an energy that wants to go off and be somewhere else forever, because I think for Libra Risings, your home is of extreme importance. Very, very important place for you guys. So yes, you like to go here, there and everywhere, but you always like to come back to home. home is very important, and having that stable pillar here. Now, the ninth house, of course, because this is the house of Jupiter, so what we learn from experiences, and it's just the higher learning energy. This means this is an energy that you can learn from too in your life. So Libra Risings, the Gemini energy is a good one for you. You know, you like someone who's got that spontaneity, that intelligence. You do like an intelligent mind. As I said, you like people who can talk about things that are not just surface level. But someone who's kind of got that gift of the gab, because you guys have got gift of the gab, and someone who's got that spontaneous energy, you can just get up and go and do things. You like that, you appreciate that about somebody. But what you'll notice with the Gemini energy, it's a very light-hearted, very, very light-hearted, not necessarily the most serious energy. You guys have got quite a serious side to you, really, because you do have all of the fixed signs in the fixed houses. So there is this inner strength that Libra Risings have. And you can take things a little seriously sometimes. So the Gemini energy just show you to be a little bit more free-flowing with that. So let's have a look at the other thinking and communicating house now, the 12th house. The 12th house, this is an interesting house. It's one of the more difficult houses to understand for sure. But this is the house of the unconscious mind, the collective unconscious, how everyone's minds is connected unconsciously. These are thoughts that you're not even aware of, your inner spirit, guys, and you've got Virgo here. So this is the feminine earth sign, mutable, that is again ruled by Mercury, same as Gemini up in your ninth. So you've also got Mercury sitting energy in your 12th house. So again, well, I think you've got quite an active mind. Now, let's think about what this could mean for you guys, because deep down, I think you strive for perfection, perfectionists. You like the detail. You like to be able to analyse things, and you like things to kind of make sense to you. You kind of have these impossibly high standards deep down on yourself. Virgo is a perfectionistic energy. So, you know, a Virgo rising, for example, they are very conscious about their image and how they look and how they come across, how they appear. You're a Libra rising, you also care about how your appearance is and how you come across. But having Virgo in your subconscious mind also means that this is another reason why you do care what people think, and you do care how you're perceived. And not that people would probably know this about you unless they actually knew you really, really closely. And I mean, like, you real close people won't know this about you, but you do have this kind of harsh mindset on yourself. You can sometimes be your own worst critic, I guess, because you can just be quite harsh on yourself and expectations of yourself. And again, the reason why it's good to be around those Gemini people, because they're not as serious, and you can have quite a serious mind with this here. Virgo, this is the sign of service and helping others. Literally, that's what it represents. So having that in your subconscious mind means you've always got this tendency where you feel like you're having to help people, you're having to serve people. There's other reasons why, and we'll get onto that, into the other houses in your chart. But having Virgo here means it's a natural part of you, a natural reaction is to help and serve and give. As I said as well, guys, this might be one of the reasons why you find yourself overthinking, have this tendency to overthink, and I guess run the risk sometimes of potentially mentally burning yourself out. You got your Mercury up in your ninth and your 12th, you've got Sagittarius in the third. These are all big energies when it comes to thinking. So, and it might be one of the reasons why you're kind of a little prone to escapism tendencies, but we'll get onto that. We'll get onto that when we get onto your 6th house. Let's look at the 5th house. The 5th house for you guys is Aquarius. Now, this is the male fixed air sign that's actually ruled by Saturn. If you want to go traditional, ruled by Uranus. So the 5th house is the house of children, expression, romance, creativity, entertainment even. You know, this is a very interesting house for you guys to have Aquarius in it, because it's, I guess, a way of expressing that's not of the norm of expressing. So you guys like to say something or like to be seen, and when you're expressing, as something that's a little bit out there, a little bit that's not following the rest of the crowd, and mixing that on top of your Sag in your 3rd house and the way that you think. When you're expressing, you've got a unique style. Again, another reason why you're interesting. Once a Libra rising gets going, they are interesting. They have got things to say that will make you think, but they also are very good at speaking and getting people to listen to them as well. And that one of their biggest skill sets actually is changing and developing their mindset based on their experiences that they've learned from being around other people and what they've learned. With this being the fifth house of children, it's actually quite possible that, especially with your first child, it could be a child of the Aquarius archetype, whether that's Sun, Moon or Uranus prominently aspecting one of their main planets, or, you know, heavy 11th house energy. But have a look like that. And when you're having your children, I think for Libra Risings, one of the biggest things for you guys that you're going to want to instill in your children is to be unique and independent, to be strong-willed. When you guys are expressing, you want to be seen, that is where you want to be seen, as the independence, as where you are strong and you've got these firm belief systems. As I think I've already mentioned this, but you have got the fixed signs in the fixed houses. This is a fixed sign in a fixed house. So I guess you can have, to people who know you, you will have this stubborn side to you, a fixed side really, a fixed, so these values that are deeply embedded within your soul. When it comes to dating and casual dating, you guys might be the ghosters. If you're not feeling it, you might just like not even let yourself get engaged like that and even get too close. Or you might be the type that acts like you don't really like someone when you do really like them. Like, that's just typical Aquarius, just being a little bit weird basically with things. And it also could be that when you do jump into these sort of relationships and stuff, it's something unconventional. It might not be the normal socially acceptable relationship that you guys have. You might like that person who's a bit rebellious, who is not caring all about the rules and doing what everyone else wants to do. You like someone who's a bit different, and if your seventh house, that's very interesting to look at for you guys. But I think you like a rebel. You like someone who, as I said, doesn't follow the crowd, has their own independent style, break the rules. An area for you guys in your relationship is where you break the rules of society. So let's jump over now and look at your 11th house. This is the house of friendships, social connections. This is a very, very public house. And for you guys, I've got Leo there. This is the male fixed fire sign that's ruled by the sun. Again, you've got a fixed sign in a fixed house. And the Leo being ruled by the sun, you need to kind of look at it as, I guess, as if you've got the sun in the 11th house, which is a prominent reason, again, why being part of a group and being part of friendships and social connections is of high importance to a Libra rising. A lot of yourself, the sun represents the self. So because that's the ruler of the 11th house, you have to obviously look where your sun sign is to have a deeper look into that topic. However, for the purposes of this video, it means that you've got the singular planet of the sun in the house, again, of shared others. Your rising sign is the sign of others in the house of selves. This is twice where this is happening in your chart. So this is why, a reason why groups are a big part of you guys. This is where you feel comfortable. And having Leo energy here, I mean, this is, let's face it, this is fire. This is fire energy. And in your thinking and your communicating style, you have fire in there with Saturn the third. So having this fire energy here in your friendship groups means actually you might like to be a bit of a dominant one in your friendship groups, or this is an area where you are kind of happy to take the lead. You like to be part of many different types of groups as well. You have a lot of pride when it comes to your friends and your social connections, basically. That is something that you pride yourself on, knowing people and knowing who to turn to. You probably do prefer the more flashy type of person, you know, the one that's a little bit louder, someone who's a bit fiery, someone who has got the cash to go out and splash and have a good time. Like, you like to surround yourself with people who like to look good and all of that, because you know you like to look good. So it might be that, you know, you just tend to gravitate towards that more flashy, fiery energy, and it's a place where you feel comfortable. So let's have a look at the second house. The second house for you guys is Scorpio, and the second house is the house of values, possessions, what we build in this lifetime, and like our money, basically. So having Scorpio here, this is Mars ruled. And if you want to go modern, this is Pluto ruled. These are significant energies to be happening in the second house of your stuff, basically, and what is yours. The second house is about what is yours, what you have in this lifetime. So this is an area where I think you're actually a little bit more controlling. You care about what you have. You care about what you own and what your stuff and how you get it. You are driven to build and get whatever it is that you want to get in this lifetime. If we're looking at the modern aspect of this with Pluto here, this is quite a very transformative planet to have in the second house of finances and possessions. So you could find probably that in times in your life you've been real flush, like rolling in it, and then you've been suddenly broke, got nothing, really struggling. You might find you go through those extreme transformative periods of finances in your life, but you best believe a Libra rising will find a new way how to make money, because they've got Sag in the third. These are big idea people. They can have visions. They know how to get it back on. Having Mars here in the second house, this is driven. So when you do find you have those moments, you'll be driven to pick that back up and improve your situation. Mars is our action, our drive, our energies, our passions, and this is all in the second house of what you've got. So you do care about what you've got, and this is, as I said, you might be a bit controlling over it. Scorpio is secretive. So you're probably a little bit secretive about your money, about how much money you've actually got and where you earn your money. Hey, Libra Risings, how did you earn that? You got Pisces in the 6th. Could be up to all sorts of hidden stuff that people haven't got a clue about as to how you've earned your money. But you know, this is and it might be an area of life where you are combative. You will argue with someone about your stuff, like that is yours, you earned it. Like you could be a little bit like that. This could be one thing that you do maybe fall out with people over and have just combative experiences is over your finances and your possessions and what you've built and what you've earned. Because as well, we'll get onto it a little bit later, but your 4th house is very important for you guys. So you understand that in order to have that 4th house that you want, the 2nd house needs to be taken care of. So you care about how you earn your money and how much you've got and how you get it and what you've got. So but watch out for just being too controlling with it. But it is what it is. Wherever this energy is falling in someone's chart, it's going to show where there's a little bit more control and combative tendencies, basically. So let's jump over now and look at the 8th house. Now, the 8th house for you guys is Taurus. So again, you've got a fixed sign in a fixed house because that's the feminine fixed earth sign that is ruled by Venus. So what an interesting opposite energy to have up in your 8th. In the 2nd, you've got your Mars, which is all about me, and you've got the Venus up in the 8th, which is about others. So as I said, you are generous. I'm not saying that you're not generous because you have Venus in the 8th house of shared things with others. This is the house of shared finances, shared resources. This is a house of death, rebirth, the house of sex, taboo topics, and you've got Venus energy here. So you have got depth, real depth to you, Libra Risings. You've got this, it's a very private house as well. Let me just make very important here. The most private house in our chart, quite potentially. People may argue with me over that, whatever. It's a very private house in the chart, and you've got Venus here, so you really value your privacy. You know, so as I just said with your 2nd house, you don't really like people up in your business in terms of your money, your finances, how you get things, what you've got. So, but you have serious depth, you value your privacy, and you have serious depth when it comes to who you are as a person. And you might have this love for deep topics, of taboo topics, of other, you know, things that aren't necessarily out in the open. You guys like to get down with that type of stuff. This is a very deeply watery and transformative house, and you guys have got earth here, fixed earth. So the earth will have a drying up effect on all of that deep water that sits up in this house. And because this is like the house of crisis and transformation, and I think you guys, you can be, you know, I've told you can be indecisive. You got mutable in all of your thinking houses, so you can be a little bit back and forth with your minds. But in a moment of real crisis and real transformation, I think you guys stand your ground. This is where you are calm. You won't just flip out and like, oh no, this might be a time when actually suddenly you pull through and you know what to do all of a sudden to get through that moment of crisis. You're not gonna let it crumble you. You'll be like, right, okay, that's what I'm gonna do then. This is how I'm gonna approach that. So very interesting here. And also this is a very sexual house. Taurus is a very sexual energy. It's a very loyal energy too. So when it comes to sex and the topic of sex, it is quite serious for you guys. I think you are the type that are into the whole foreplay situation. You're into the whole sensation of when it comes to it. You like affection deep down in a partnership, in that close partnership. You really like that affection, that trust. Like trust is so important for you guys here. If you don't trust people, it's not going to work out very well. But you can have a bit of too much of a trusting nature though, and there's other reasons why that is, which we'll get into. But you know, how you feel deep down is that you want trust, you want to build long-term relationships with people. So let's have a look at your sixth house. The sixth house for you guys is Pisces. This is the feminine mutable water sign that's ruled by Neptune and Jupiter. And the sixth house is your day-to-day routine, who you're around every day, your day-to-day work. This is the house of health and service. And you've got Pisces here. So that tells me that, you know, in your day-to-day life, in your day-to-day work routine, you want freedom. You don't want to be stuck down and rigid and having to do this. No, you kind of just want to be fluid and go with the flow and do what you want. When you think about Jupiter and Neptune as planets, these are very overindulging planets that have no boundaries. These are not planets that have got any boundaries. And Venus is also exalted in the sign of Pisces. Venus is what we love to do, you know. So again, it's an overindulgent energy. This is why I said earlier, having Pisces in the sixth house might make you basically prone to escapism of reality. You might actually tend to turn, you could be the type, I'm not saying everyone before you get offended, but I'm just saying you could be the type of person that deals with drink and drugs in your day-to-day life just to get through, because it's an overindulgent energy. Like you've got this obsession possibly with even food and just basically having what you want, what it is, whatever you enjoy day to day, that's what you want to be doing. You don't want to be stuck down some sort of rigid structure and rigid job. Because this is a mutable energy here as well, you might have been in and out of different types of work, and you just kind of want to, you feel like you should just be paid. You should be paid for your creativity and the ideas that you've got. I think having this in your day-to-day house as well, you know, things like music and films, things that just help you escape, basically. These are things that you're into every single day. This is a very compassionate sign as well. Pisces is a very, very compassionate sign. Very, very helpful sign. This is in the house of help and service. So again, another reason as to why Libra Risings, you are possibly sometimes a little bit too helpful to other people and just always have this, whoever you're around day to day, like you will help them, you have compassion. You're not going to stand there and watch somebody struggle. You definitely will help. This is Venus, Jupiter, Neptune energy that we're talking about in the house of health and service. Now I'm going to focus on the other angular houses. So I'm going to look at the 10th, 4th and 7th house, because these are, as I said at the very beginning, these are the angular houses and the more prominent themes in your life, and I like to save until last. So let's have a look at your 10th house. 10th house for you guys is Cancer. So, wow, that is now the feminine water sign cardinal. Actually, all your angular houses are cardinal, that's ruled by the moon. And you've got this in your 10th house. The 10th house is the other house of how you are seen by people. It's a very, very public house. It's the image and your social image that you give off. This is the long-term career house, basically. So having Cancer here, let's think about it. You've got a Libra rising, you're leading with that Venus energy. You've got Sag in the 3rd, super, super duper charming. You've got Venus in your 8th house of shared. You've got Pisces in your 6th. You are very sharing and compassionate and kind and a giving person, but having Cancer up in your 10th house means you are seen as that. This is the mother energy, mother-father figure, if you want to look at it like that. You are seen as someone who's very caring and nurturing, who people can turn to for help. And you might have found that for a lot of your life, maybe you've actually had to play the mother-father role to people. You like to be seen as somebody that is important to you though as well. You know you like to be liked. I've already said that. You like to be liked. And having this energy here means that people actually naturally gravitate towards you. People love the Cancerian energy. They feel comfortable. They just feel like they can come up to you and have a chat with you and like release all their stuff out onto you, basically. But this is actually, you know, it is the house of long-term career and how we're working, and this is moon ruled. This is a moon ruled sign. So you could have fluctuating careers really throughout your life. You might have just turned your hand to different careers. The moon being our deep inner emotions, of course, there has to be an emotional connection with what you're doing for work. Like, I don't think you're the type of people that can do something that you don't love. You will do something, but if it's not something you can connect with, then you will move on and do something else. You will change that up. You might be the type of person that might prefer to work from home. You might want to work with your family, even having that energy there. But Cancer, you still can't get it twisted. This is a cardinal sign. Cancerians are about their money and going out and getting it. So another reason why, even if when you're having your Scorpio 2nd house transformative periods of money, and if it's a bad transformative period, your cardinal energy and your angles will push you always. It should be pushing you to get back up and go out and earn your stuff. So let's have a look at the 4th house. The 4th house for you guys, you've got Capricorn there. And the Capricorn, that is the cardinal feminine earth sign that's ruled by Saturn. Now, the 4th house, this is the house of deep emotions. This is how people feel really, really, really deep down at your roots, your upbringings, tradition. This is how you were nurtured. Capricorn here is quite a significant energy to have. So again, guys, you've got an earth sign sitting in a very deeply emotionally watery house. So I feel that has like a drying up effect for you. So although you come across as very nice and charming and likable and all of that, you know, you don't let people get in here very easily. You can actually, when people get to know you, you might actually seem a little bit shut off in terms of your emotions, a little bit well guarded, basically. Capricorn is a super private energy, so you're private about how you really feel. You don't feel the need to kind of, or you might find it difficult to let people really into you and know what's going on. There's probably very few people who actually know you, Libra Risings, and know you deep down and how you tick. Having Capricorn in the 4th house, you would have grown up in a family, a very traditional type of household where it was all about hard work. This is what you do. If you want to get somewhere in life, you have to work. It's not about being all emotional into your emotions. It's not going to get you anywhere, is probably the message you were given growing up, that it's about if you want something, get up, go and work for it, make it happen. Capricorn is a very family orientated sign though, so family is of immense importance to you. And this is why I said earlier, you know, Gemini in the 9th, and Sag in the 3rd, you like to travel here, there and everywhere, be popping about, pop off on holidays and stuff, but home is of extreme importance. This is where you have that strong, stable, sturdy stability. Quite a lot of who you are today is probably from the influence of the upbringing of your parents. So it's having stability for you guys and feeling stable in your home life is of key importance. As I said, you got that Scorpio energy in your 2nd house to make sure you've got that drive to build, to have this home life. You might want to be the breadwinner, the provider at home. You want to provide a certain lifestyle for your children, for your family. You might actually be a pretty strict parent here as well with Cap in the 4th, the parenting style. And you probably had a bit of a restricted, not restricted, I'm saying restricted because you've got Saturn here, but just a strict upbringing. There were rules, there were regulations, there were guidelines, and you saw that and you see the value in that, and you appreciate a hard-working partner too. Do you know what I mean? You want someone who you can build with. This is someone who wants to build deep down. They really want to build this longevity pillar in their life, and they love being with other people, they love being with others. They don't necessarily like chilling by themselves. It's not that they can't, especially depending on, you know, what your sun and moon is, but you generally prefer to be around other people. Now, we've got to the last house, guys. Let's look at the 7th house. 7th house, your descendant sign for you guys is Aries. Now, this is the cardinal male fire sign that's ruled by Mars. Gosh, what an energy to have in your 7th. And your 7th house is the house of relationships. This is the house of other people. You know, first, the 6th house is all about you. 7th house, this is the first time in a chart for the rest of it, where you start to look at how your life is in comparison to other people, and how you relate with other people. And that for you guys is going to be the Aries energy. It's also just like long-term relationships too, like friendships, you know, contract partners, business partners. It's just, you know, look to your 7th house for your long-term compatible energy. Now, I am not saying that you can only run and be with an Aries sun or an Aries moon. No, but someone who can display those Aries archetype is absolutely key for you guys. Someone who's got that Aries energy. It could even be some of the like 1st house energy. You need to have a look. But you've probably always been attracted to, and you attract that fiery type of individual. You've probably got those people that just come after you. They look at you, they see you, they're attracted, they want you, they come and tell you, I want you. And you like that. You like someone who can come and take a bit of control. In your relationships is where you like a little bit of fire, a little bit of passion. But having Aries in your 7th, you've got Leo in your 11th house, friendships. Like you appreciate being around the fiery archetype. And some this is going to sound, I'm like, this is not a dig to any Aries archetype, because I'm a Mars in Aries, so I'm hoping you won't take offense, but there's someone who's got to be compatible with the Aries energy, because the Aries energy is a lot. It is very fast, overwhelming, loud. Aries don't care what people think. Okay, Libra Risings, you care what people think. The reason why an Aries archetype is good for you, because they don't care what people think. They'll show you to not care what people think. An Aries archetype would be perfect at showing you who you are. They're very firm in their own belief systems. They're very, very independent. They like to do what they want. They are not restricted by anyone or anything, really. And you guys find that like quite admirable, and it's refreshing, and it helps bring you out of your shell. And as I said, you have got this giving and compassionate side to you, where you might always feel like you're always helping other people, or kind of always at service of others. You're not necessarily the most self-centered type person. And Aries can be quite self-centered and care about themselves, but that's important, guys. That's important to have to do in this lifetime. And they'll show you how to maybe not be so nice to other people, and know when there's a time to say, no, I'm not going to do that, because I'm going to do what I want. It's very refreshing. As a Libra rising, of course, you can be very indecisive and very mutable with the way you think, and sometimes, just very changeable with your decision making. Aries will teach you how to just go for what you want to do. If you've got an idea and you're like, make that happen, they'll be your number one motivator, that number one the motivator, yes, and the passion and drive that they will give you to make you achieve your dreams that you want. You guys have got all the fixed side in the fixed houses, so independence is something that you do value and that is important, and that's what it is with the Aries archetype. This is a very independent energy. It's someone who will break the rules. You've got like Aquarius in your 5th house again. You're into someone who's not into the more unconventional ways of life, and that's what you'll find. The one thing I will say though is to just kind of watch out a little bit for the type of people you do attract, because Aries, this is a wild energy to try and tame. This is the male file cardinal sign, so there is aggression here. There is very much a combative side, very much an argumentative side, and you guys are so nice naturally, and wanting to be like that. You just make sure you're not just going with the flow with a real nasty person who actually hasn't got anything to offer you long term. No, you're attracted to that fast fire, but you're not looking for someone who only wants that instant sexual reaction. They just want to be with you, and they haven't got any long-term plans. They've got no long-term goals. They've got no depth to their brain. It's not going to work for you. You have Capricorn in the 4th. You're looking for someone who can build. You like that loyalty. So yes, you love that fast Aries energy, and you actually might be the type of person that falls for people pretty quickly as well. You might fall faster than you want to, but just watch out of what type of fire you let yourself be around, because Aries is an explosive energy. But as I said, there has to be someone for someone. There has to be an energy for someone. It's all beautiful how it works out. So basically, the Aries archetype is a perfect balance for Libras. Honestly, you as energies, you complement each other beautifully. So I'm going to leave it there, guys. If there was anything that I said that you liked or could relate to, then drop me a like. And if you haven't subscribed yet, then of course subscribe. Come with me, help me grow, get me through the YouTube algorithm and get my video out there to more Libra Risings so they can see. And coming up in my next video, we're going to be talking all about the Scorpio Rising. So I'll see you in my next video.